Welcome back to another episode of Your Morning Drive. I am Logan Lewis. I will be your host today. Before we get into things, if you enjoy what we do here, make sure to send it to just one friend, family member, coworker, spouse, boss, ex-girlfriend, whatever you want to start their day. You can find us on Apple and Spotify in terms of listening. If you want to watch our wonderful faces, you can do that on YouTube as well. If you want to support me more than just listening, you can go and follow me over on the socials, Instagram and TikTok at Your Morning Drive, and where we post show updates, episode announcements, clips, and many more. Also, a big shout out to Fireworks Co-working for hosting us. They offer a creative co-working space dedicated to uplifting and supporting our local community. Try it out on me with code DRIVE for a free day pass to get your feet wet. See if you like the co-working vibe. You know, maybe you work at home. Maybe you're an entrepreneur. Maybe you're a solopreneur. Maybe you want to work somewhere else other than a library or a Starbucks. Give Fireworks a try with code DRIVE for a free day pass. My guest today is a key Business Radio X team member and the host of Fearless Formula on the Business Radio X network, as well as a professional voiceover artist and audiobook narrator here in Atlanta, Georgia. She's also a major Harley-Davidson rider and a member of Litas Atlanta. Please welcome the one and only Sharon Cline.
Hi, Logan.
Hi. What?
It sounds so different when someone's like reading your bio, because I'm just like, yeah, I do this or do that. But then to hear it all put together so nicely is hilarious to me.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, do I do that? Yeah, I guess I do.
You're like, oh, yeah, I do that.
I did. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Did I pronounce that Litas?
Litas.
What is Litas?
Litas is a motorcycle collective. It's a female riding group.
Okay.
That is global. And it was started by a woman that had a t-shirt clothing company that wanted to find a group that wasn't like an MC. So she started a couple chapters here and there. And the next thing you know, it's just caught on. I mean, it's all over the world. If you go to England, you can go to any country and they've got a branch of the Litas. And so I'm a member of the Litas Atlanta. In Georgia, they have the Litas Lake Lanier, Fayetteville, and Atlanta so far. But it's growing all the time. And we just had our bike night last night. So
hey, there
really
you
fun.
go.
Yeah. Fun.
Have you always been a motorcycle kind of gal?
Right. I always liked motorcycles when I was younger. I thought they were great. No one I knew rode, but I just liked the look of them, the sound of them. And then about 8 years ago, I was like, that's it. I'm going to learn how to ride. And so I went to Hellbender Harley here in Cobb County, actually, and learned how to ride with their bikes because I dropped them a ton, Yeah. But it was so fun. I mean, it's been a huge part of my life. It's an everyday thought about when can I ride next. And I hear bikes going by my house and I'm always like, where are you guys going? Like I'm missing out, Yeah. But yeah, it's been really a great addition to a hobby side of me. So.
I feel like that's such a huge group of that's such a huge community, like the biker community. Yeah. Like I feel like they're all so tight.
They are. And it's funny because we had our networking meeting this morning and they asked the question that they ask every week is something kind of personal. And the question they asked today is, what do you think people don't understand about something that you really like, or that maybe is misrepresented somehow? Mm-hmm. And I said, the motorcycle community, I feel like they get a kind of a bad rap,
Sure.
Not that it's not earned in a lot of ways, but
it's just
stereotypical, and more women ride now than ever. And so that's nice, but also that it's not, these grizzled hard people who just want to throw down all the time. It's this most solid, the most caring, the best friends I've had. I feel lucky to be part of it. So I have to say that, for sure there's a misconception of what the goal is to ride and what it means. It's really to enjoy different experiences together. And here in Georgia, North Georgia is some of the best riding that you'll ever have. I mean, it's right in our backyard and it's a blast.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how are you?
I'm good.
It's been a while.
That's been a minute.
I mean, has it? When did we link up? Was it like
couple,
early May, April?
It's been a couple months at least.
Yeah.
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
I'm going to be asking you questions.
Yes, I'm game for that. So you, as I said in your little intro bio, so you host a show, Fearless Formula, with Sharon Cline.
Yes.
Tell me about that show, even though I know what it is, but tell the people what this show.
Okay. So I was lucky enough to get to know Stone Payton, who owns the studio in Woodstock. And in networking and trying to get to know people for my voiceover world, I had heard he was involved in radio. So I thought, well, let me get to know him and see if he needs any voiceover work needs me for any voiceover work. And we just got to talking about his shows and what he does. And I was like, I used to work at the radio station at Kennesaw State University, like go Owls. And I still have hooty hoo. I still have like knowledge in my head. And do you need any help? And he was so generous, let me kind of figure out the name of the show and what I would like to do with it. And I've asked some of the coolest people to come on like you. I get to know so many people in the community, and it's been such a blessing to my life. It's my happy day is when I get to sit like this and get to know someone. What is it like to be you? And it's about the ups and downs of business. It's not just
sunshines and rainbows.
Yeah. And what's your mission statement? None of that. It's more like what makes you brave enough to be a business owner and deal with the stresses of it, and what can someone else benefit from hearing your story, benefit by hearing your story. So I've just loved it. And I've been really interviewing a lot of authors lately, which has been really fun because I do audiobooks. So it's been great to kind of get to know local people. There's so many really talented, wonderful people in our backyard. We just don't really know about them, oftentimes. So it's nice to shine some light on some local people. Really love it.
Yeah. So when you first met Stone and you wanted to get involved with, however you could help at his studio, was it always going to be a show? Or did it kind of evolve into like, well, maybe I'll just do my own show?
Initially, he just said, yeah, do you want to do your own show? And I was like, heck yeah. And then I also would substitute for him and use the Roadcaster just like you in case they, needed someone to produce a show while someone else was interviewing. So I liked doing both sides because the side that you're on, it's so fun to interview people. I love it. But then there's also a side where you just press a button and kind of chill.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice too. Yeah,
it is. So with you joining forces with Stone, is there ever been the conversation of you heading up your own studio? Has that ever been something?
It has been, but it's the funds for it have always been just elusive to me, and at some point it would be amazing if I could do that. But right now I just kind of chill and grateful that they don't change the code and I can still open the door. So I swear to God, sometimes I'm like, how is this my life? How did I get to be like in a studio interviewing people? And that imposter syndrome is a real thing for me. So it's so fun to actually like do it. People are happy in the end, and I'm like, hooray. Yeah. Successful day.
We talked about this. We keep referencing the episode that me and Sharon did together when I was on her show. So I'll make sure to make that convenient to access when we do this episode description. But what I wanted to say was we talked a lot. I'm going to be referencing that conversation a lot. So like we talked about, like you just said, it's the highlight of your day when you get to sit here in front of the mic and do it.
Yeah.
And it's just a wonderful feeling.
It is. It's a gift. I'm so grateful. And for some reason, my brain doesn't ever kind of just relax. I'm always processing and thinking. And my son was just showing me a guy that's from Japan. He's like a musical artist, but he's really focused on the 80s. His name is Ginger Root. And he's showing me all the things that this guy does. And I'm just so fascinated by it. I'm like, why the 80s? Where'd this guy come from? And like, how did he figure this out? Like, I can't just appreciate, I got to know everything. And I was like, I really do have a slant this way to ask a lot of questions.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't just chill.
You saying all of that makes so much sense to me. People, always will tell me like, oh, I started my business this way, that way. And I'm like, do you want to do an episode together?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like just the other day, I have this coworker that I work with every day, and she's super cool. Shout out to her if she hears it. She knows who she is. But she was just standing there talking to me about her life. And I was just like, you want to do a podcast with me? She was like, what, really? And I was like, she's like, little old me? And I was like, yeah, little old you. Everyone's got a story to tell. Everybody's got experiences.
Yeah.
And I just like we talked about on your episode, I feel like it's so intimate like this right now.
Yeah.
Like being able to converse one-on-one, no distractions, just a real conversation. And you don't really get that anymore.
You don't. And so many people are the coolest people that I got to sit down and chat with that I've known for 2 years.
And you'd never know. I just
never knew their story and never really got to understand why they did what they did or have that empathy and to understand one other. You know, when you have these moments of being able to connect in emotions that I feel like I get to love on people a little bit. Like, what's it like to be you? And there's really no motivation other than to just understand what it's like to be you or hear what you've learned or what you think. And I mean, I'm comfortable with what I think. I don't need anybody to be any different than who they are. So it's really such a neutral, happy, just joyful experience for me anyway. Hopefully everyone else.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
I love it. I feel like every single time I've done an episode, unless someone was just trying to be polite and they really didn't think so, I feel like everybody always has, and I'm sure you relate to this, you finish recording, you hit end, and everyone's always like, that is so much fun.
Oh my God, they stay for 30, 40 minutes. Sometimes I'm like, all right. You know, I love that because it's almost like the other side of the interview, you know, the extra stuff that you get like a little bit more intimate with is even more fun to me. And the last interview I did was with an author who was really great, Zach Steele. And when we stopped the interview, I still was asking him questions that would have been great with the interview because I still really just want to know things. And I would forget, you know, oh, that would have been a good question to ask you on the air. You know, I'm like, you'll have to come back.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love that you have the same mind as me this way because, you know, it can feel very isolating because, again, there's no, like, who do I talk to about this? No one but me, you know? So it's great to be able to share the experience of what it's like to be constantly curious and not really sort of just taking somebody for who they are and not really care, you know, like, oh, okay, that's cool. Good for you. But instead I'm always like, I wonder if I would have done that if that situation were me,
right? You
know, and then I start going on a spiral of questions.
Do you ever just sit across from somebody and you're hearing them tell their story and you're just thinking like, wow, like you just said, like, what would have I done? Like,
yes.
I can't believe, like, some of the simplest things, like, people have told me, I'm like, I don't know if I'd ever be able to do that.
Yeah, I had a gentleman on who had a very dramatic, like, physical attack happen to him. And that's what I mean by, I don't know what, he lives in Ball Ground, the just normal little small town, whatever. But what he had to come back from to be an author was amazing. And I swear my mouth was like I couldn't even ask a question because I was so incredulous, couldn't believe things like that happened. But you think, how would I have known that? How would I have known what it's like for him to become strong enough to even turn toward this gentleman with the compassion that he does? Because he had two choices. You know, he could have gone a very dark route, but instead he really chose to embrace and be kind to this gentleman. And I mean, the character that he showed, I never would have known that if I hadn't had a moment, you know, like this, where it's quiet. It's you and me. We get to focus. And in the life full of distractions, it's just really nice to be able to really focus on someone. I love that.
Yeah, I love it so much. It's almost like I can't even remember what my life was like before this.
Nice.
You know, like it's like back before I did this for fun, like what did I do? Like, did I just not connect with people?
It's a good question, isn't it?
Were you a really social person growing up? Like, were you like really like cool with everybody in school? Like, what kind of person were you?
That's a good question, actually, because it's interesting to see the comparison and contrast of who I am now as an adult, you know, who I was in high school. And I liked everybody. I wasn't part of one group. I just liked everyone. I think superlative wise won best all around or whatever, because I kind of liked everybody. But I always have been a curious person, always been interested in why I do what I do. And if I wanted to do something different, saw someone did something different, why did I do what I do? Like, why did they choose that? So I had friendships that were very close where we would have those discussions, and that was my happy time. It's like my sport, to ask a lot of questions. But in a professional way, having a studio, it'll be 2 years this month, actually, that I've done the show.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I really appreciate having a set schedule with it, and being able to hone skills with people that I don't know their backstory, like my friends. We can cut to different depths pretty quickly, but with a stranger or someone that I know just surface wise, it's very different. And yeah, it's a part of my brain that I tap, that I get to actually engage with, as opposed to just like chill, relax. You don't have to know everything. I think it's an attempt to understand myself, but it's also an attempt, I think, to keep me safe in some ways. Like, okay, well, what's happening here? What's it like to be you? So even though it may be born out of like a past trauma, I try to turn it into something that is beneficial for myself and someone else.
That's amazing.
Well, thanks. I haven't really put all that together before.
Isn't it funny how when you're talking out loud, things just click?
This is how it happens. Yeah. It's the best. It's like
I don't
therapy.
know. It is like therapy.
Yeah.
It's like when you're in therapy. I don't know if you've ever been to therapy, but it's like
many times.
Yeah. I started going in January, and I was always the guy that was like, I don't need therapy. That's stupid. What a waste of money. What a waste of time. Like, what am I going to go talk to somebody? What am I going to lay down on the couch? But going, like, I look forward to my next appointment. Like, I love going because I've realized so many things about myself just talking to a stranger that I might not discover talking to my parents or like a sibling or my friends or something. Like, it's almost like the unbiasedness and the no pressure of the therapist, not knowing who you are, helps you come to the realizations. Because with a lot of people, we all put up a wall, or we all put up a fake, or we all put up a smile. I talked about this with a guest I had a couple weeks ago, but she just said, like, all on the internet, all you see is good. Yeah. All you see is good. You never see the struggle.
That's true.
You never see it. And it's like, and I like that in your show, you talk about not just the wins in business. Like, you want to talk about the struggles. Like, I want to talk about like when you were living out of your car because your restaurant was barely making, like, I want to hear all that stuff. And it's just nice to be able to hit on all of the real parts of life. And this gives you that opportunity.
It's true. It's well, for therapy, for me, I always appreciated someone who didn't have a dog in the fight so much, like really vested interest in the outcome other than for me to be happy. So that was why therapy worked so well for me. And I think the same thing happens with my own kids, where I'm trying to give them some advice maybe, and
sure.
A stranger can say the same thing and it holds more weight than what I say.
It's true, because, if your kid gives you an advice, or if you look to a sibling or a friend, you're just like, oh, shut up.
Yeah, you know me.
You don't know me.
Because of the last thing I did. Yeah, it's strangers, though, who don't have a dog in the fight are just like, here's what I know. It just holds more weight. And that's kind of how I look at therapy, is like someone who just wants me to be happy in the end and feel strong. And, but yeah, I would say that as far as having the opportunity to really get to know the not darker side of being a human, but more, the things that we tend to not celebrate, the things that are more shameful, which is just what makes us all so human. I love like giving a safe space for someone to be able to share that, because that's what unites us all. We all know what it's like to be afraid and ashamed and frustrated and angry, all those, I don't know, non-happy emotions or complex emotions. I don't know. There's nothing wrong to me with someone who struggles, because I struggle too. Yeah. And in that way, we're the same. So I like highlighting that we're more alike than we are different.
Right. And, often enough, the folks that say that they don't struggle are the ones that are struggling the most. Like me saying like, oh, I don't need therapy. That's dumb. Well, I needed therapy. I just didn't know it yet.
Well, I'm proud of you for even admitting it, because a lot of people hide that kind of stuff.
I feel like nowadays is the perfect time for that, because back when my parents were kids, if you said your feelings were hurt, or if you said that you felt uncomfortable about something, they would just say, for lack of a better way, like, grow up, pussy. Like suck it up, like, quit being a bitch, like, pull your big boy pants up.
Quit being a bitch.
Yeah, quit being a bitch. And like, and to an extent, like I still agree with some of that, but we should be able to hear each other out.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Safe space.
Yes.
Safe
like
space.
I can't imagine growing up in a way where like, if I was just like, Dad, I'm depressed, he'd be like, get over it. And it'd be like, oh man.
Yeah.
But now it's so, I feel like the 2020s is like the decade of mental health awareness.
It needed to be.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, COVID aside, even if COVID
right?
didn't happen, like I feel like in the last 5 to 6 years, like the whole like mental health or, like self-care, like that's a huge like social movement.
Yeah.
And it's the right time to be in therapy because no one will judge you. And if they do judge you, they don't tell you because nowadays, if your boss says, "Oh, you're going to therapy," you can, pursue that litigation if you want to.
HR.
Yeah, HR. Whereas before they were like, "Oh, he said something mean. That's whatever."
Yeah, that's the office environment,
So yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I definitely love that. Anytime that we're encouraging people to process emotion and be in touch with their emotions, it never served me well when I pushed them away. So having an opportunity to allow people a safe space to express them, even if that's not their natural tendency, it still is so exciting for me because sometimes they'll say, I've never talked about that part. I'm like, really? Let's do it. Let's go. Because it's again, it's like what unites us all. We all know what it's like to feel these things, but to normalize it, it's not as pervasive. So I like to normalize all of it. I am all the things. I am happy and sad and, jealous and compassionate and a million different emotions all the time. And so we're just humans trying to
figure it out.
We're just trying to make it through,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the truth. I mean, that's what's nice about the show is it kind of, for at least the one I do, and it seems like you too as well, where you're really generous with your guests as well, giving them safe space to say whatever.
Yeah.
It's a gift. It's a gift.
I was talking to Nicole Thomas, who you've interviewed,
Yes,
and
wonderful.
I've met her through networking events and stuff, and she's going to come on the show next week.
Yay! You'll have the best time.
I know she's incredible.
She's got such a good soul.
Truly. And she texted me today and said that she actually got a job. She found a job.
Really?
I know that's been like a big movement of her. She got a job.
Oh my gosh, congrats.
Which is incredible. Congrats, Nicole, if you hear this.
Her.
Yes, you should. And we had talked about coming on the show for a couple weeks now, and she said at the time, like, hey, I really want to urge like people to like consider me. I want to like put my name out there. And I was like, that's cool. And she texted me today and she said, hey, so I get this job. Do you still want me to come on? And I was like, well, of course I do. Yeah. I mean, you're a really incredible person. I mean, her story alone, which we'll talk about when I interview her, so I won't give too much away, but a few months ago when she stood at that exit and did what she did, I'll leave it at that. But like, I saw that on the news and I thought, I would never do that.
I know the bravery she has.
The bravery.
Yeah.
The
and
audacity.
The belief that she has in herself. It's
Correct.
Inspiring. And she's so humble. You'd never know.
Never. And so she's like, she's like, okay, well, now that I got this job, can I talk about this? Can I talk about, and I said, Nicole, my show, similar to yours, I'm sure, is your place. It's my show, but it's your place.
Yeah.
Like it is your opportunity to talk to, if you want to talk to me about how killer whales shouldn't be called killer whales because they're gentle giants, I'm all ears. Let's talk about killer whales. Like truly.
Did you think that?
I thought of the most random thing ever.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that came to mind just now. I'm also obsessed with the ocean.
Oh, nice.
Obsessed with it.
No idea.
Obsessed with it, but so deathly afraid of it.
We never talked about this on the show.
No, we didn't.
It's like about the fear that you have.
Oh God, so scared.
Really?
Oh, scared.
But fascinated.
Oh, but fascinated. Because, you hear all the, we've only explored 40% of the ocean or whatever. What's in the other 60? I'm trying to find out what's in the other 60%, Yeah. It's like, really what the fear is I just don't want to be killed by a shark. And sharks are my biggest fear on planet Earth. Besides not being successful, sharks. Or maybe just the, like, death by shark.
Oh.
Maybe, I don't know. It's very morbid, but like.
So you've seen Jaws?
Oh, God. And you know what's crazy? It's not even Jaws that does it for me. Because that shark, just at the time, I'm sure in the 70s or the 80s or whenever it came out, it was scary.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I'm like, that just looks like a giant robot shark.
Okay.
But now, like, just seeing, like, I don't know. Like this morning, I was on TikTok and I saw this story of this kid who jumped off his cruise ship last year. And he was being filmed by his buddies. He was dared to do it. He jumped off the boat and he was killed by a shark right
are
then
you
and there
kidding?
on film. And it was like nightmares. And of course, I'm in Florida last weekend for my buddy's bachelor party. And we're at the beach. And they're like, come on out. And I'm like, I'll stay right here. Like, I'll go waist deep. But even then, I'm like looking around, terrified of the ocean.
It's a real thing, though.
It's
a well-founded fear.
If a bunch of my closest friends and family were like, hey, we got a boat, we're going to go out in the ocean, I'm not going.
Really?
Not going.
I have a fear of drowning. So
that's a valid fear.
Thanks. Thanks.
Water.
I'm knuckle touching you right
now. Yes.
Nux.
I like to call it nux.
No.
Give me nux. You know?
No, I'm not giving you nux.
Not nux? We're not doing nux?
All right. God damn.
Boom.
That was funny.
Like when I go to a kid and I'm like, hey, man, give me nux. And he gives me the fist bump.
I've never heard that.
Well, now you're going to start using it. And you're going to laugh and think of this moment.
Okay. All right.
Shout out to everybody out in the world that says, give me nux.
No.
Shout out to all of you wonderful people.
Okay. It saves 2 syllables because I'll do like knuckle touch. But
nux. Give me nux.
I can't. Okay, it's fine. Yeah. So I have a real fear of drowning, but I have a fear also of like jellyfish and things. So yeah, there's scary things in the ocean, but I don't ever really like want to swim a ton. I don't want to have a boat on and be out there unless I know I can stay on the boat. I don't know. I have a real fear of it. Maybe in a past life.
This is super disgusting maybe, but like I'm just going to urge to the people how afraid of the ocean I am. Like if I'm out there on the boat and I've got to go to the bathroom, 1 or 2, and my only option is to get into the water for 30 seconds and go, I'm not going. I'm going to do it in my pants.
Really?
I'm not going.
So I wonder what happened that just kind of like,
I don't know,
hijacked you.
Maybe it's more like, cause you see these videos of like, and you see these images of like, you know, like it's a picture of someone swimming and then it's just like ocean below them. Yeah. That's the fear. It's just the infinite nothing. Maybe that's the fear.
Infinite something.
Or the infinite something that we just can't see.
Yeah.
Maybe I just have a fear of the unknown.
It's true.
And the ocean is arguably the biggest unknown on the planet.
Do you feel that way about space?
Oddly, I mean, no.
Is it because you don't ever go into space?
Maybe it's because I know space is so unobtainable by me, whereas like someone can be like, let's go to the beach, and then there's the ocean right there. Mm-hmm. Or maybe
can imagine.
I have a fear of being like, which I doubt will ever happen, but being the guy that's working on the space station and then like asteroids come, you get knocked off, and then you're just spinning, you know, going into infinite space.
Does that give you anxiety?
That freaks me out. I'm like sweating now talking about it. But like maybe it's just the fear of the unknown.
So when you watch movies like Star Wars or something, does that like give you that feeling?
Nah.
Is it because it's a movie?
Maybe.
It's an experience.
Although like movies like that movie that came out like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, Gravity, I think.
I never saw it, but I can see
anxiety inducing. Because
really?
The whole plot of that movie is that right there, where these two people are on like this space shuttle. The space shuttle loses power or gas or whatever it uses to fly. And these people are stranded, and then they get, you know, meteors, and then the ship blows up, and then they're just floating in space, and they got to figure out how to get back to the horrifying. Sandra Bullock and Brad Pitt, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I know Sandra Bullock for sure, but I don't know about Brad Pitt. But either way, it was fantastic, but it just anxiety. Oh,
yeah.
But the ocean is worse than space for me.
I have a fear of not being able to breathe. So the ocean does that, or pools or water or whatever, but space would induce that feeling as well, because you're running out of oxygen. Yeah.
Maybe just like, I don't know. The ocean and space are definitely the 2 biggest unexplored, well, space for sure. Cause you know, we're this tiny little dot in this infinite multiverse of. Do
you ever see the pictures of the Earth sometimes from, you know, like the International Space Station, and you just can't believe how vulnerable it looks, and you know, how are we even alive?
It's like, wow, why haven't we been attacked from another galaxy before?
Yeah, or how big are my problems really?
Really, truly. Oh, I got cut off in traffic.
Yeah. Well.
Oh no. I'm going to get to my destination 45 seconds slower, you know?
Yeah.
It makes you think so much differently about life when you think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that actually. Because if my problems are really small, then I can actually they're manageable. So I try to remember that. Mhm.
So you mentioned you worked at KSU.
Yes.
In radio?
Yes. So I had gone back to college when I was, I think, 38, and started working at the radio station shortly after that. And I just loved it. I have never been part of like a university anything. So I had a couple different interview shows that I did, and recently found some audio of one of the interviews that I did with the curator of the museum that they had there. Her name was Rita Impey Imes, and she was the nicest lady, like brought me cuneiform with like little gloves. It was so legit. And I loved the time that I spent with her, having her kind of explain some of the different items that they had. And she passed away maybe 5 years ago. And having found this interview just recently, I was like, well, I never listen back to my interviews because I'm just self-conscious.
Same.
So nice. Thanks.
Yes.
Normalize me.
I'm with you.
Again.
I'm with you.
So nice.
Give me knucks.
Okay. God dang. So uncomfortable. All right. So, interestingly, I was listening to this interview, and I was trying to kind of imagine how did I do back in, 2010, I guess. I am the exact same person that I was then as I am now, asking questions.
Really?
Yes. And I was so glad to see it. And also sort of like, I don't know, think I'm different than what I really am. So I was sort of like, no, I am exactly the way I think I, come across. I asked the exact questions that I probably would have asked today. So it was kind of affirming, a little self-conscious, but it was like, oh, well, that's really genuinely how I'm made. I'm consistent. And it was nice. It was nice just to hear it back in the day, before I even did this consistently, interviewing people consistently.
Yeah. Do you think if you had not had those experiences, you would be doing what you're doing now?
No.
Really?
I don't. I got really lucky. I think many times I can just say, wow, how did I get so lucky? Because they let me make whatever show I wanted to. So I had one called Investigation KSU, where if anything was mysterious or anything needed extra explaining, I would interview people and
Wow.
talk about it. And then I also had one called I Know Right, which was a theme show, which was so much fun, because I would, like, if it was finals week or whatever, I would have all kinds of songs that were identifiable for the theme, like, Under Pressure or whatever it was, or like there was a food theme I had at one point. So it was all just ways that we can all, like, all the songs can be from different genres, but they all had the same kind of theme. I loved it. That was a great time in my life. Even though it was emotionally taxing for my home life, I still had a lot of joy discovering something about myself, being on the radio station. So yeah, being there, having the shows. So I would say that if I didn't have that kind of experience of interviewing a lot of different people and really like honing some skills there, I don't think I would have been as like inclined to ask Stone, if he needs some help. So yeah. Different little pieces being put together.
They all make the puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if one little piece was crooked or maybe not,
or I wasn't brave enough,
yeah,
to ask or audition or whatever, all of these different things. It's crazy how I really try to make my life a certain way. Like, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do, and I can see my future. But no matter what I do, I can't make some things happen. So the things that do happen are truly what's meant for me and lead me along a path that I would have chosen differently if I could, probably a least resistance path. But yeah.
I think I know your answer to this question, but with you saying that all the little pieces fall together for a reason, essentially. Mm-hmm. Even when you texted me today, you said, hey, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Because it's not supposed to happen.
Exactly, because you were running behind. I was like, we can reschedule because everything happens the way it's supposed to. And it's kind of a freeing notion for me.
So when things, like you said, some things you can't make happen.
Yeah.
Does that bug you?
Oh, yeah.
This is something I had written down to ask you, but like, what's like the all-time dream? Like, what is like peak life for you?
Career-wise, I would say peak life for me would be consistent work in a voiceover field. Like this weekend, I'm actually going to Kansas City to take an animation voiceover class.
Awesome.
With Carrie Walgren, who is a very well-known artist. She's on I can't remember, Rick and Morty and a bunch of different shows. She's and also video games. And so she's going to be there, and it is being co-hosted by a woman who hires for Disney. Her name is Sarah Sherman.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm so excited to open a door to something different. And if somehow through these different connections and classes, I get to actually be on like an animated show in some way, or
Golly, remember me when you're famous.
Well,
can I ask you this? When you are famous, can I interview you again?
you can do anything you want that way. I'm so happy to know you and that you're spending time with me like this. So of course I'd be honored, but that's, I hope that's an issue for me. I hope that I'm like, oh, I'm so busy these days,
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm just trying to move energy around and see where it all lands.
Besides that, is there anything in the creative space that you haven't done that you'd like to do?
Yes, actually, I've started to write a book. I'm very excited about it. I have the first chapter written.
Oh my.
Yeah, and then guess what? I could voice it as well.
You could.
I'm very excited about that.
It's a double whammy.
Yeah, so I would like more time to be able to do that, but right now my life is I'm good with where I am as far as like the way I live and how I spend my time, and the different pieces that kind of make me. I feel like I have a lot of different boxes I get to check. So if one is off, it's not like my whole life is off. I have a lot of other boxes I get to check, but I'm pretty full with the things that I do, and I'm really grateful.
Yeah.
Really happy.
I'm jealous because I'm happy too, but
okay.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it.
Being happy?
No, about why you're jealous.
Well, see, I know I'm young and I've got plenty of time.
Wait, how old are you again? 28. Okay, yeah.
I've got plenty of time, but there's so many things I want to do. But it feels like there's not enough hours in the day. It's a crime because I also want to write a book.
Nice.
So about the book, is it fiction, nonfiction?
It's fiction. But I metal detect as a hobby. Did I ever tell you that?
No.
Oh.
Metal detect? So you've got a whole ass metal detector.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
next time I see you, I want to see it. I've never seen one in person.
Oh, it's so fun. Oh my gosh.
Tell me you've got it in your car.
I don't.
Oh,
it's in my garage. But it's really fun because like I go in my yard and different areas and you do find things. And even if it's just a nail, it's like, how long has this thing been here? Yeah.
See, there's the constantly curious thing.
Because
how long has this nail been here?
Yes, that's exactly
I wonder if it was a nail in the coffin of Abraham Lincoln.
And who was mad that they dropped it and can't find it? Stuff like
or
that.
Or who stepped on this nail and buried it.
I found a little Matchbox car that had the date of 1978 on the bottom. And I was like, what little kid, was upset that they lost this car? But that's me always thinking again. Yeah, it's like very consistent of tell me what life is like for my imaginary person that lost this thing.
This is a total movie plot, but imagine you finding out who owned that Matchbox car and giving it to them and seeing their reaction.
My dream is to find something valuable like a ring or like a hoard of cool coins or something, and then actually going to find who they really belong to.
Right?
That's my dream.
That's amazing.
Dream. That would be so much fun for me.
I want to write this book. I want to write a TV show.
Oh wow.
I would love to write I think I talked to you about this a little bit last time, but if not, I'm gonna clue you in, and I might even have to utilize you for this.
Really?
I want to write a scripted series, but only over podcast. So there's no visual. It's all the same sounds. Just imagine watching your favorite TV show, but with your eyes shut. All the same sound effects, all the production. I know there's a lot that goes into that.
Yes.
But I want to write and star in one of those.
That'd be amazing. So there is something similar to that was associated with KSU, and I know someone who does that. And so I will forward some info to you.
Please do.
So it's old school, radio dramas.
Yeah. Radio drama. That's perfect.
That hit different when you have only audio.
Yeah.
And because everybody's mind can picture something different.
Exactly.
Associated with the audio.
And I'm going to need voice actors so you know whose door I'm knocking on.
Oh, is it my door?
It's your door.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll answer.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. That's a huge, huge goal.
I love that you'd write it.
Oh, I would love to write it. I love writing, period.
That's amazing.
Just there's something, especially when you hand write it. I'm all for technology and using it to my advantage and using it to help me. Mm-hmm. But the thought of like writing a book or writing a TV show or a script of some kind, it just gets me excited. I don't know.
And the authors that I've interviewed, it's been really cool because they talk about characters, about how they have an idea of their character, obviously, because they're writing it. And sometimes it's very clear what their character's journey is. But then in the course of writing, their character will turn out a little different, almost have a mind of their own, which is fascinating to me.
I'm going to have to put you in touch with somebody that I think you could possibly work with in the future. Really? So I'm buddies. I'm friends with a woman who I used to work with at the first company I ever interned at. And she quit that company, quit her long career to be an entrepreneur. So she started a publishing company. And now she does all kinds of things. She's wickedly intelligent, and I hope she hears this, so she hears the compliments. Shout out Beverly. But she has a publishing company. She's got this thing. I don't even know if I'm supposed to tell you this, but I'm going to anyway.
Oh gosh. Oh
my gosh. She'd be cool with it. Okay. She is starting something that's under the code name Bevy World for now. So if it changes names in the future, bear with me. But what it's an online virtual space that people who want to read can go to learn about authors and books, and it's really cool. I've seen demos of it and seen how it works, and it's almost like, God, this is such a niche reference. You probably don't know what this is.
Let's hear it.
But no, it's almost like The Sims.
Oh yeah.
But for books.
Okay.
And
interesting.
Like you navigate to different buildings. Like this might be the nonfiction building, and you see 4 books that 4 authors are trying to promote within Bevy World. Okay. And you can go in there. You can buy the book directly from the thing. You can go to the author's website. You can go to Amazon. You can get a sample. You can learn more about the author. There's round tables where authors can answer questions.
Virtual world.
It's a virtual world.
Imagine having those glasses. Yeah, and then you're kind of just really immersed in this world. And then to be able to buy a book, it's clever.
And she's been working on this for years, and she's working on launching it soon. So
that's awesome.
And she works with a lot of really talented authors, and if they are interested in audiobooks,
hooray. But if not me, then there'll be another voice, because there's, my voice is not for everyone. I know that. And I'm never upset if it doesn't sound like what you want. So I know a lot of people I can refer to. I think there's enough enough room for everyone in this world.
Absolutely. I'm not BSing you either. So when we put out our episode from your show, I listened to it in the car on a road trip with my parents.
Oh gosh, you're so brave.
Oh, so brave. And that's like one of the few times I've ever listened to my own conversation.
How was it?
It was weird hearing myself.
I know.
But first of all, they said that I sounded great. So thank you, Mom and Dad. But they said that you are a killer interviewer. They said that your voice is perfect for radio.
Gosh, no way.
So shout out to Mom and Dad for giving you that compliment.
Shout out to your mom and dad.
Yeah, they said that your voice is pristine for radio.
Oh my goodness.
Not just BSing you because you're here or anything, but
I want to give them a hug.
Well, maybe one day you will.
Maybe I will. That's so sweet. Please tell them thank you.
Yes, I will.
That's awesome.
So I want to write this. I want to write that. I want to do all these things, but I feel like I have all these ideas, but I'm just having trouble making them happen,
It's the time management thing. And I'm struggling with the same thing, because if I focus on one thing, I can do it really well, but I have a lot of different things to focus on that I don't spend enough time focusing on the one thing that I can do really well. Instead, I've got several different things that I'm like, oh yeah, check that box. It's not really what I want. I want to focus on things and complete them and really dig into things rather than float, because I have a lot of different projects I work on. So my issue is time management as well. And I love sleeping so much, and I struggle to get good sleep. So when I do, it's valuable.
Yeah, you don't want to give it up.
I'm not, so that, and just, I think prioritizing, what is my goal, and reaching for that goal, as opposed to, oh, someone wants to do this or that, okay, let me get pulled in a bunch of different directions. I'm a pleaser in a lot of ways, and it can backfire, if I'm not really very clear about my goals. So that's something that's gotten very clear to me over the last probably 2 months, of how much time I can spend not really focusing on what I really want, but making other people happy, and then kind of not phoning it in, but doing good enough is not going to really get me where I want to go. You have to be stellar, and you have to really laser focus and not let anything distract you. And I haven't really dug into that yet. But this weekend, I'm hoping will be very inspiring for me as well, in that I'll learn a lot about my ultimate goal. And I think once I see a path to the ultimate goal, then I really know that that's what I'm going to want to do. As a matter of fact, I think about meeting these people and how that are doing the class, and that I want to be cool, and be like, yeah, but I'll probably just like cry a little bit because I'm so excited, and I would get so emotional
when you fly
it.
out.
Yeah, actually, I'm driving. I leave tomorrow morning. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for doing this tonight.
No problem. My pleasure. I don't mind at all. Yeah. So I don't mind being in a car. It's 11 hours or whatever. I don't care.
You going solo?
Yeah. Me and my podcasts and audiobooks and, whatever. I'm happy.
That's amazing.
Thanks. So yeah, I'm really excited about the future, that I'm hoping that these will provide some networking moments that'll be really great for my career.
I love that even since the conversation we had on your show, I have just seen just little things like how much knowing somebody who knows somebody can like advance you in some way. It's crazy. Everybody knows somebody.
It's true. And it's funny you say that, because I joined a talent agency called 99 to build my voiceover world and expand it. And I don't know exactly how it happened, but they submitted something about me to some different companies that are casting extras and background people. And I was asked, am I available for certain days to be extras on a couple different shows? And one was a movie that's being filmed here in Atlanta. And in meeting people in that world, I'm always like, listen, voiceovers is acting. So this is the same field. It's just on camera, which isn't what I thought I'd be doing. But in meeting these people, I'm hoping that it will grow my voiceover world, my voiceover opportunities as well. But one of the assistant directors, we were talking during a break, and he said, it's really who you know in this industry. You can be the most talented person, but if you don't have the right connections, it's very difficult to get through. But it is really who you know. And I guess knowing someone in that industry that says that, as opposed to thinking it or believing it, it's like, oh, wow, that's true. So in this way, it's exactly what you're saying, who we know and how our lives can intersect, and how I get inspired to mention someone to you or you to me. It's kind of amazing. And I love the idea behind it of we're helping each other.
Correct.
Like, oh,
Absolutely.
I know someone who might be able to help you with your dream. I mean, how fun is that?
Right? Like, I feel like, so I've come, you're one of the first people I've told about this, what I'm about to say. Oh, maybe I'm spilling all my beans on the same episode.
Okay.
So I'm working. So the last time I did an episode with somebody, which is coming out, well, by the time this gets posted, it'll be a couple weeks ago. But either way, I did an episode with someone, and she was talking about this, and I was like, I know somebody that could really use you. And it got me thinking on the way home that night. I was like, I've done all these episodes with all of these people, and I feel like they could all use each other.
Yeah, help each other.
I was like, what can I do? So I'm kind of in talks with these folks at Fireworks to possibly, towards the end of the summer, put on some kind of networking event where I invite all of the folks that I've met and had as guests, or professional connections I have, because I feel like I know so many people. And
lots of different genres and ways and businesses and
all these different industries. And I'm like, for all maybe this carpenter is trying to shoot a video commercial and he needs voiceover. Yeah, right. Or maybe this author is writing something and they need an illustrator. Exactly. I feel like I just know all these people, and I was like, it'd be wonderful if I could hear that I helped a friend of mine with utilizing services of another friend of mine. And it was something that maybe this is an ego thing, but something that I helped put together, it would blow me away. You know?
I'm the same way, but it really isn't an ego thing. It's actually just, for me anyway, and I think you and I are very similar. So I would hesitate to say, oh, it's you and your ego. It's not that for me. It's more, how wonderful is it to witness and to know you had just a tiny hand in other people getting something
and their
done
success,
and their success or dream. It's very satisfying. Actually, if I never find out that it was something that I did, fine. Because where I what I love to do with the show is to be able to have it land wherever it's supposed to land, whoever's supposed to hear it, be inspired by it. I can't control it when it's out there in the world. So I just do my part and then hope it goes wherever it's supposed to. So someone will be inspired or affected in a positive way, or even just normalized, even quietly. It doesn't matter. But just knowing that like you had a hand on somebody's thinking differently, or being inspired differently, it's humbling. Actually, it's the opposite of ego. It's more like, wow, thank you for the universe using me in a certain way that makes the world a better place.
Right.
It's joy.
Yeah. I just, I was like, you know what? I want to, and that's another thing, add it to the list of things that I really want to do. Maybe make it a yearly thing.
Yeah.
Maybe make it a quarterly thing. Like, hey, why don't you network with your morning drives guests or something? I'm still figuring it out and still in talks with these guys about what exactly that looks like. But I was like, you know what? I know a lot of people that could help each other out.
It's wild because I just had that feeling yesterday because I have a friend, Presley Gray, who owns Dawson's Auto Care in Dawsonville. And it's a auto body shop as well as a mechanic shop. And he works on bikes. And of course, I know all these people that ride bikes. And so they've been bringing their bikes up to him. And it's funny because they'll start talking and I just kind of sit back and watch their relationship develop. And I'm just like, this is the coolest
moment. It's amazing.
This is the coolest moment ever that I get to sit back and watch, people get to know each other, that they have a need. He has a need. Everybody wins. It's just neat.
Right.
Heckin'.
It's amazing.
It is. It's wonderful.
It's a wonderful feeling.
Yeah.
It's almost like being a mentor to somebody and you see that person get that job or nail that gig and you're just like,
oh, so you give yourself
you're giving yourself knucks.
Or a knuck, what was I, like a shoulder?
Yeah,
like shoulder punch.
Yeah,
or pat on the back.
Pat on the back. There you go.
Knucks. God, I don't know if I'm gonna embrace it.
You're not here for knucks.
I might not be
That's
here
okay.
for knucks.
That's okay. We'll get you in.
No,
we'll get you there.
You keep that one. That's
okay.
You.
That's me. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'll keep it when I go to my friends' kids and I'm like, give me knucks. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, give me knucks.
I don't know how much you've affected my brain though, because now when I do them, I'm sure
you're going to think of knucks. You're going to hear it.
Thank you.
And then you're going to text me and you're going to say, I just thought about knucks and I hate you for it. Oh man. I love it. Like, wonderful. It's incredible.
So that's how you affected the world. You got me to like think about
knucks. I am far from done asking you stuff, but I can't help before I forget.
What?
You told me you had questions for me. I'm curious.
I did. So I wanted to ask you, now that I'm in your studio space,
yes. Yeah.
What is it like for you as you are going through the process of interviewing people? I know we had a lot of similarities when we talked a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago. What is it like for you you're hosting, and you're going through the same things that I do as far as creating the space, contacting people, setting it all up, making sure it works. How does it feel for you at the end of an interview that you've conducted?
It feels amazing. I mean, it's kind of like, it's almost like a situation where you want to just like, as soon as the guest leaves and then you're sitting alone in the space, you just want to be like,
yeah,
like fantastic, especially if it's really good, like a really good one. Like I remember leaving yours and feeling really happy about it. Like I was like, okay, we did a great job.
Yeah. Nice.
And there's, every once in a while you have one that's just fine.
Yeah.
But I'm very lucky and most of the interviews I've done have been fantastic. I feel like I've gotten a really good variety and a really good group of people to be guests.
And it's a natural flow of conversation. I always worry about that. Like if there's an end to a moment and then we need to pivot to something else, you're like, I kind of get nervous about it. But generally speaking, as far as being with you, it's felt very natural the whole time, even on my show. I loved that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I find that anxiety there of like, so to give you some back end, I don't really write many questions down. I put a few bullet points and like for you, I said, how did we meet? Business Radio X, early career, and voice acting / audiobook and your dream job. That's it. I wrote those down. That's it.
Awesome.
And then I've taken other notes to remind myself later what we've talked about so I can, put it in the description and everything.
Nice.
But I don't really try. I try not to do too much research about who I'm interviewing because I like to naturally learn along with the listener.
Yeah.
So like when sometimes people hear you say, "Oh, you sounded really surprised when you were asked," it's genuine. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, some interviews you need to do the research. Like if I'm doing like the other night, a few months ago, I interviewed a up and coming country music artist. And she's based out of Nashville, and she's incredible. Shout out to Ashley. And I did a lot more research on her. I listened to her music. I looked at her tour. I looked at clips on TikTok. I did a lot more research for her because I didn't want, and it was virtual. So you also find that virtual interviews are a little more awkward than in person.
There's an energy exchange
Correct.
when you're in someone's presence.
Like there's just a constant like flow, like it's flowing towards you and you're giving it right back to me.
Yeah.
Like, and virtually, you just don't get that. It's a screen, and you're like, it's like, you go ahead, and it's like, and it kind of ruins the flow of things.
Yeah.
So I try to be as genuine as I can, and sometimes I feel like people can tell that I am not genuine, especially when I'm doing more research into guests.
Got you. Where it's more contrived. You mean the questions aren't as natural? They're just sort of like, I got to make sure I.
Yeah, like more than 2/3 of the questions I've asked you tonight have been just off the cuff. Mm-hmm. Just like, oh, well, this conversation flows into this, or like, well, I'm genuinely curious about that now that we've said this. Like, I just want it to be as flow because I have some friends and other peers in the space, and I'm sure you know some too that have scripted podcasts that aren't dramas, like scripted stuff. And you can tell that they read. You can tell that they read from a document, and it sounds so uninteresting. And sure, they add some personality to it, so it's more fun. But you can just tell when it's a dud. Like even when I do my intro, people can be like, "Oh, he's definitely reading off of something," and I am. Yeah,
when I do voiceover work, I'm reading, and my voice sounds different to me. The cadence I use and the inflections and things. But when I'm speaking like this is normal. Yeah, conversation. The way I speak. But reading it, there's no way it's really difficult to sound super supernatural unless it's written to be supernatural.
Correct.
Who do you think is a really wonderful interviewer that maybe is well known, or who do you look to for interview tips or ways to interview, or do you?
So a little bit. My biggest inspiration probably would be guys like Conan O'Brien. I love Conan O'Brien because his interview shows always felt real, or Ellen DeGeneres even. Like they felt very sure she had probably bullet points of like your movie's coming out. Here's a clip from the movie. How was it acting with Chris Hemsworth? Like acting like questions like that. But a lot of her questions and Conan's questions always felt like they were genuinely interested. Of course, Joe Rogan is another one because he's, he has a similar, I always pitch myself as like a Joe Rogan, like it's an interview, but it's not, it's a conversation. But some people will hit me with, well, what's it a conversation about? And then I'm like, anything you want.
Yeah. Well, when we get in here, we'll do it.
The show used to be called way back in the day. It used to be called Whatever You Want or Whatever I Want, something like that. Because I would just say, it's whatever you want to talk about. Like I was telling Nicole, I was like, it's your platform. Like if you want to talk about what you want to talk about, even if I don't agree with it, I'm still going to pick your brain. Think of all the people that Joe Rogan sits across from that he does not believe the same belief says. Yeah. And he sits there and he picks their brain because he's curious, constantly curious as well. Yeah. And I would love to get to that status where I can interview like nuclear physicists and stuff and just like question or marine biologists and just question everything.
That would be a really cool show to do.
It would be so cool. I would love if you're a marine biologist, hit me up. Even like someone local, like Georgia Aquarium, like anyone that works at the aquarium. This would be so sick. If I could go to the aquarium and do a podcast interview with you, whoever you are, in the aquarium, like and film it and have it in front of like a tank. That'd be so badass.
You know what? It would be not just interesting because it's information, but it would be really cool for you to maybe potentially lessen
get in the water.
Fear. Not get in the water. Well, I mean, geez.
I would do it honestly.
Well, because it's the aquarium.
It's the aquarium, and if I get bit, I can sue someone. I'm just kidding. I'm not. I don't know if I'm going to sue somebody.
I just mean like you would be in the pursuit of trying to manage a fear.
Yeah,
which would be kind of cool to watch.
It would be cool, and it'd be cool if we could shoot some like content with it. And like, what if I did put on a suit and jump in the water? That'd be great content.
It would be. You never know. You never know. If I know someone, I'll let you know.
I just thought of that. I'm going to write that down.
Are you going to write that down?
I'm writing it down.
Well,
Aquarium.
I might know someone. So that's what I mean by, you never know who you're going to meet or whatever. So
Right.
if I can.
I can't wait to put on Facebook tonight. Who works at the Georgia Aquarium? Like, somebody hit me up.
Wait, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You really, really, really want someone to come on your show, and every day you put on Facebook a post. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, thank you. I would love the great and lovely actor Chris Pratt to come on this podcast. A few weeks ago, I interviewed a great person, Elizabeth Cheney, and she has a podcast of her own, and she is really big on like the self-love, self-care stuff.
Okay.
And I would say, oh, if this, if that. She was like, stop saying if, put it out there in the universe.
To say when?
When Chris Pratt gets on your show, not if he does.
Okay.
So she was like, put it out there in the universe. Doing something as casual as tagging him on your Instagram story. Every single, imagine if he pulls it up one day and it says day 1500 of tagging, and he can go back and look that I've tagged him. Something that takes 4 seconds, but he could think to himself, that's really admirable that this guy has, taken 15 seconds out of his day, but 15 seconds over the course of the last 5 years to get my attention. Like, I would love to interview him. A, because people say I sound like him.
Oh.
And B, because people say they compare I have a very charismatic personality, and they say I give similar vibes to Chris Pratt. So, hey, Chris Pratt, if you hear this, man, come through. It can be virtual. Honestly, I would love to sit here in person with you, but it can be virtual. I know you're probably filming Jurassic Park 7 or something like.
Imagine if he had a voicemail or something he left for you. Just anything.
I would cry. I would shit my pants. I would probably cry. Yeah.
So sweet. I mean, crying part was sweet.
So, oh yeah, not the shit my pants. Yeah, that'd be
exactly,
tough.
But
Yeah, he would think that's funny though, because him and I have similar personalities.
You know what? Now that you say that, I actually didn't think about that your voices are very similar.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Hell yeah.
That's cool, actually.
I would love to talk with him. Really, anybody. I mean, that's my thing is I want to talk to everybody. Everybody. I'll talk to that garbage man. I'll talk to those guys that were painting that church across the street.
I know, they're still there.
I know.
When I came in.
I want to talk to everybody. Everybody.
That's awesome. Me too. I'm just curious.
Thank you for your questions. I love them. Do you have more? And I love that you just know them off the dome.
Well, off the dome.
Off the dome? Is that another one you're going to reject? The dome. Get it? Because it's, a dome.
I've never heard that one.
Off the dome.
This is funny. Okay, so my brain works this way though. Like when I'm interviewing people, I don't have questions even as nice as yours that are kind of have a natural flow to them. I just ask a lot of questions as they're talking. I don't know why, but I mean, I think it would be a better show if I did have something written out, because then I can really focus. But instead, it's just so I'm lazy. I'm lazy. I don't want to go through that much work. I just want to chat with you. That's the fun part. Yeah.
I love that part. I love that. That's why unfortunately, it's laziness on my part too. But rather than doing the research, that's why I send everybody that link. And I'm like, hey, tell me the things you don't want to talk about. Tell me the things you do want to talk about. Because then at least with Ashley, the country artist, she said I want to talk about songwriting. I want to talk about my new single. I want to talk. And so it gives me more of a structure, okay, she wants to talk about these things, but these are the things that I want to talk about. But I'll always prioritize what the guest wants to talk about.
That's nice. I don't even do that.
And then every once in a while, someone like yourself just says anything. Smiley face.
Oh, is that what I said?
I think so.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about? I was like, I don't know.
Anything.
Whatever you want.
And then of course, you said a couple things in the you don't want to talk about this, but you said absolutely anything.
Yeah. Whatever.
And I'm like,
whatever.
Bet.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Well, I ask the same of my guests, so I don't want to be hypocritical. I mean, I do, but I don't want to feel bad about it.
Sure. So, do you have more questions, or can I ask you more stuff?
I did have another question, but I lost it because we were talking about something else. It'll come back.
If it comes back, interrupt me.
Okay.
So with the whole voice acting and audiobook, I mean, where did that start? I mean, at what point in your early career, life, whatever, were you told by somebody you should pursue this? Did you just think I've got a nice voice, I should put it out there more? How did that work?
So I I always was, well, I can sing too. So I think I always just had like a
You can
nice,
sing.
yeah, but we're not doing that right now, but I
was
can.
gonna say, please sing for me.
What?
Sing for me. No, you don't have to do it right now.
Okay, cool.
We can do it off the air. Off the air.
Fine. So I think I've just always had like an inclination to use my voice in a certain way. And I used to do the announcements at school and stuff and was told I had a nice voice. And I thought it's fun to listen to ads on the radio. And I would used to mock them, you know, and try to mimic how they sounded. And like 30 years ago, I took an voice acting class in Orlando before I had kids, and then put it aside when I had kids. And then I would listen to a lot of audiobooks going into work every day downtown. And then I don't know, just thought I would love to know how people got into this. Like, I can do it. I think I can do it. I think I can act like that way and be articulate. And so I learned that way. I Googled, and acx.com, which is associated with Amazon. They have a way that anyone can make their own profile, and they can start to do auditions for any author that has a book on there. And that's how I got my first book, actually, was through them. And then I just slowly got more books, and then thought voiceovers are books, but like tiny versions of them where you're done in a minute as opposed to a couple months. So in 2020, I took a voice acting school course through Such a Voice, and then started to get work after that. So it's really, it's definitely like a journey, but in inspiration too, which I think you have similar inspiration moments where you're like, oh, I should look into this, or I wonder what this would be like. And the next thing you know, I have a web page and, you know, demos, and it's crazy.
Do you think, tying this into you saying that you're writing a book, you doing audiobooks and readings for these other folks, has it almost helped you write?
No, interestingly, it hasn't, because I'm acting when I'm in the booth.
True.
And when I'm reading the book and the sentences, the goal behind reading them is the emotion behind the sentence. Why did the author write this? Well, this person's angry or sad or just moving the plot along. My brain is functioning in a very different way than when I read for pleasure or when I'm studying something. It's really trying to please the author as best I can. You know, why did they make this fight scene, which is so fun to do, you know, and I get emotional reading things and believe that I'm the characters. So it's very different from writing. But if I really were to, I love reading. So if I really were to kind of study the different ways that people can make a book, you know, write a chapter, write prose, anything, there's a lot to be gleaned from people who are published already. And it'd be advantageous for me to do that. I hadn't done it yet, really, because I only have the first chapter written, and then I'm like, all right, I'm going to go back to this. And it's been like a year.
Really?
Yeah, and I haven't done anything. I'm like, because I've been busy, but that's the sad part about it, is like the priorities that I have. You know, I could be more strategic and discerning with the way I spend my time, for sure.
Yeah. It's definitely hard because, you know, you want to prioritize family and friends, but then of course you want to prioritize these things that arguably could get you more free time. But then at the same time, less free time because, you know, I mean, it's like, it seems like life is just a balancing game.
It's the opportunity costs, right? It's like, I could spend this time really investing in something that in the beginning is going to be, you know, tough for me. It's going to require me to be very disciplined, but in the end could lead to more time that I don't have to be, or that can exponentially complicate my life because I have more busyness to do because it did well. So I tried to not worry about the outcome as much, but just try to be, because I can get very tied to the outcome. So if I can just like really focus on the process and doing the best I can in the process of whatever I'm doing, the outcome is what's supposed to be. But I do like to know that I'm investing time that will give me a return if that's what I really want. So I struggle. This
is deep, and it's, I mean, it's not deep. It's very surface level, but it could be deep if you want it to be.
Oh God.
Have you ever wanted to give up?
Yeah.
And just work your full-time job and just move on?
Yeah, I have, because the process of auditioning does not guarantee anything. You're just auditioning and you hope that you're chosen or whatever. So when I have been, hired for a job, first of all, I always cry, like,
Yeah.
and it's ridiculous because I
Yeah.
still do. I'm always like, oh my God, me? What? Are you sure? And then I really like run down to my booth to do it really quickly so that, they didn't realize they made a mistake or anything, or like they pay me, it's done. Like no one's unhappy, right? You're good with everything. Like, I just can't believe that someone chose me.
You.
Yeah, because I can't contrive my voice any different than the way I'm made generally.
Yeah.
And so if someone wants to pay me for the way that I'm made, it's kind of shocking to me always. I'm like, are you serious? Really? Okay, I'm going to do the best job and you're not going to regret it, No pressure. But there are times where I don't really feel up to, the energy that goes into making these auditions really good, to not really have the outcome that I want. But that's just being an actor anyway. You just go, like, I get a lot of joy with pretending I'm the character as I'm auditioning. That's the payoff.
Yeah.
I have to make it that. I can't say, well, I need to pay this bill this month. I need this job. There's a desperation that's there that I think almost can be counterproductive. So for me, I like just knowing I'm going to be a different person in every one of these interviews, and let that be the fun, the joy, and let it, I don't know, just let it be. But yeah, there have been months where I've been like, I just don't want to put the energy into it, knowing it doesn't really mean anything. But you never know if you don't. So it's fun in my head, Logan. It's really fun. The fight is on. But it feels like I have a flowing time where everything, it just flows so easily and I don't have to fight myself and I just go and do it and I don't care and everything's great. I'm sure that it's whether I've eaten, or slept or, whatever's happening with my kids can affect my mood enough to whether I don't feel, maybe I don't have the reserve for a no, a rejection or not the return. It changes all the time.
Yeah. I'd say so.
Do you ever feel like I'm not going to pursue this anymore, I'm going to pursue something else? Do you ever have those feelings?
Absolutely. I had it yesterday. I was like, like, what am I doing? But at the same time, it's like, I'm doing what I want to do. But at the same time, then it's like, I don't have a family right now, but like one day I will. And then I'm going to have to really prioritize my time correctly.
Yeah.
And it's like, will this all just go away? Or will somebody somewhere out there in the universe see the consistency that I've tried to make and see the brands that I've tried to build and think like, this kid deserves a shot at something. Don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But he deserves a shot. Like, I don't know what if you asked me on your show, what am I doing this for? I don't know if I have an answer. I think I'm just doing it for me. I don't know. I was never athletic growing up. I never had those kind of skills. I've always been movie, video game, artsy-ish.
I can picture you as a kid, being involved in something that's kind of introverted.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And ironically enough, this is the most extroverted thing, is being social for as long as, they let me be.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I want to give it up just because it's all I don't want to say it's all I've got, but I mean, it's all I've got.
So the reason I do Fearless Formula, and I think, excuse me, I think you're similar because you enjoy the same kind of energy of questions, and you can tell me if you don't agree. I'm down for a fight. Just so
Okay.
you know. Okay.
Okay.
So the reason I do it is to normalize the human experience and to just share what it's like to be a human in your world for a little bit. Yeah. Whether or not that's identifiable by everyone, that's not really the goal. It's really just what's it like to be you for a little bit, and for the guest or the client to feel validated, heard, understood, shine some light on for a little while. That's a gift in itself too. Who doesn't want to feel heard and understood and invested in? So that's my small way of contributing to a positive in the world. That's really why I do it.
That's amazing. That's a really well put answer.
Thanks. Do you agree?
Yes.
Cool.
I love, yeah.
Awesome.
I want to find something that we disagree on because we agree on everything.
We'll find something.
We will.
We'll throw it down.
It'll come through at some point, and we'll have to fight. Yeah, I love hearing, like you said, I said this in your episode, and I'll say it again. When I talked with Stone, who also, by the way, shout out to Stone.
Wonderful human.
Wonderful guy. He said that he loves getting people's stories. And as soon as he said that, it's like ringing in the ear. It's like, oh my God, like this guy gets it. And like then talking with you on your show, I'm like, okay, she gets it too. Yeah. So it's like, I want to know what like you've said earlier, I know what it's like to be me. I want to know what it's like to be you. Yes. Like I want to know what takes you off, what's an inconvenience for you, what annoys you, what drives you, what pleases you. I want to know everything. And there's a piece of it that is the curiosity, but it's also the part of like, I've always been told by people that I am the most, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm the most loyal friend that anyone will have. Like I will always show up for the people that I care about. Aww. And the people that I sit down to talk to, I know I've said I'll talk to anybody, but I don't just want to talk to anybody. You know, I want to talk to people who I truly find are interesting, which is most people. Yeah. But I just kind of want to be the best friend and resource I can to anybody. Nice. I don't know. Maybe this all comes from this deep childhood place or something of not feeling valued or something. I don't know. My parents, I had a great childhood. I don't want them to think that that's not the case. But, you know, I don't know. I just want to do right by everybody. That's awesome. I think, and similarly, I compare and contrast myself with someone else. And part of it is my own understanding. It's self-serving because I want to understand why I do what I do. And why did you do something different? If I had your childhood, would I have chosen different? I just love that sort of sense of compassion that we can have for each other when you can put yourself in someone else's shoes for a little while. Yeah. That's fun for me, but it's not just for me. It's really just to provide an opportunity for understanding, which is why I don't really have any nefarious intention to ask any question. I'm just curious what it's like to be you. It's not so that I can do anything with that information. Twist it it's or over anything. Yeah. It's over when it's over. I like it. I don't know. My brain is like firing on all cylinders when I'm in this moment. Yeah. And it's like, it's just joy. I'm grateful to have an outlet for it, you know, like this. So, which is why whenever I do talk to people, I always tell them like, this is your place. Yeah. It's my show hosted by Logan Lewis, but it is your It is your place. Safe space. Yeah, for real. It's just safe like space. You want to get something off your chest that will also get broadcasted to the world. I'm all ears. And maybe this is like therapy. I don't know. I think it kind of is in a certain way, but it's couched under business or professionalness, you know, as opposed to, you know, like you were saying, you know, going and lying on some couch and having someone write, you know, notes behind your back or whatever. Yeah. Well, I did remember my question. Yes. So, what would you like to see happen with this show? Like the ultimate dream for this show? What would you 5 years from now? 5 years from now, I would love best case scenario. Yeah. Best case scenario, I'm doing it full time. 5 days a week or something. 5 days a week. Like maybe not 5 days a week, but 3 days a week. Full time. Yeah. I get to talk with unique and creative and cool people from all across the globe. I'd love to have my own talk show one day. That'd be really cool. But a talk show not like Conan where I only get 15 minutes with my guests. Yeah. Like I want a talk show like Joe Rogan. I'm surprised maybe there has been, I don't know, but TV stations haven't offered the guy. Maybe they have. Yeah, who knows? He's the #1 podcast, right? Yeah, on the planet. Yeah. Almost like what have you seen on Netflix how they've done like the My Next Guest with David Letterman? Yes. Like how they've said like, hey, you had a really successful talk show where you got 15 minutes with a guest. Let's give you a full hour with people and just unscripted, just shooting from the hip. I would love that. I'd love to do it full time. I'd love to be in a place where if you got asked to be on your morning drive, it was like, oh my God, yes, I can't wait. And they tweet about tweet or whatever. They put it on their they put it on Instagram or Facebook, and they're like, "Oh my God, I got asked to be on Logan's Lowdown or Logan's old name, your morning drive." Yeah. Oh my God, I get to talk with Logan for an hour. Like that's amazing. Like it's not a fame thing. It's more of just like this whole thing that we're doing here in this co-working space on this day. Like I want it all to mean something. Yeah. And it does maybe, maybe you walk away from this learning something, and I certainly will. But like, yeah, I'd love to do it full time.
I'd love to see that happen for you.
I would love it
well,
so
you're on
much.
your way, don't you think?
I think so. I mean, slowly but surely. I mean, I've done podcasting for 6 years now, I think.
Amazing.
And I think 2024, I've just now started to see, I don't want to say traction, because I love that Stone talks about listeners and downloads and likes and comments as, he calls it like useless cosmetics or something like that. He's like, nobody cares about that stuff. People care about who you are, the host.
True.
But I say that but I still go and check how many downloads and stuff I get and stuff. But I would love to get to a point where I didn't care about that stuff, and I just put out the content, and I knew people would listen, and I knew my sponsors would get support from my listeners. And I knew, like, if I found out that like 35 people hit up Fireworks and said, I want a day pass because they used my code. And then out of those 35 people, 17 of them booked full-time subscriptions to this place. Like, that'd be so incredible. Again, seeing someone that you have benefited interact with somebody that has benefited you, and then seeing them benefit each other, it's like lightning
you're
in
part
a
of
bottle.
Something bigger than yourself.
Yes.
And I like that because it takes the attention off of me actually and puts it more into the universe of puzzle pieces that move that I don't even know I'm part of.
It's almost like
it is humbling.
It is. It's almost like when I describe that networking event that I've brought up a couple times. It's like I wouldn't even be present.
Right.
I'd be there, of course.
But it's not about you.
But it's not about me. Like, that's the thing, is I'm doing this as, maybe it's a little bit of an ego thing to be like, I've talked to all these people, but I want all these people to help each other.
So I have the same feeling of, I love knowing that I had a hand in something, but it's
not ego.
I don't know. I'm the only one who knows that or something, it's not about anyone knowing. I don't need that validation. It's enough to know that I don't even know if the word used is right, but like, I was used to facilitate.
I was the conduit.
Yeah, I was the
that.
conduit. Yeah. Thank you. Much better than used. Conduit.
Conduit's a little bit better than being used, but same thing in a way.
So the conduit for some other people knowing each other. And so that makes me feel like, I've done something good in the world, and that I didn't try to control it. I just let it be. It's a wonderful feeling to feel like I'm helping something happen, and I don't even have to make that happen. I'm just organically letting that happen. It's nice.
I agree.
Yeah.
Completely.
Super fun.
Very much so. So towards the back half of the interviews that I do with folks, I think I mentioned this to you on your episode, but it's been a while, so I'll refresh your memory.
Okay.
I always ask the guest the same group of questions that kind of bring it back to whether I'm interviewing Chris Pratt or interviewing a local business owner. I'm going to have the conversation with them, and then at the end of the conversation, I ask them the same group of questions.
You didn't tell me these questions.
I did not.
Okay.
They are not prepared. They are very much so first date questions. They're no pressure on them.
Wait, you've had this on your show before? So, okay, go ahead. I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is Shawshank Redemption.
Great movie. Great choice.
Love
wow. Banger. Number 2, do you believe in aliens?
Yes, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think there's a whole lot going on that we don't know about.
Oh, hell
why
yeah.
why, my brain is not designed to understand a lot of what's going on in the world. So
Correct.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more happening that I don't know about.
Correct.
There. So yeah, I do think they're aliens.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Yes, I do. I've had ghost experiences.
Same here.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, look at us.
Wait, knuckle touch. I did the whole thing.
Boom. Do you drink coffee?
Yes, I do.
What's your coffee order?
My coffee order is a tall, skinny vanilla latte with like 2 Splendas.
Okay. Good order. Do you have any allergies?
I do.
Like what?
I'm environmentally affected by spring.
Yeah, same.
And
Pollen.
Voiceover is so tough.
Yep.
Yeah, I sound horrible for like 2.5, 3 months.
Yep.
Just at the end of it. So I'm hoping I'll start to feel a little more normal. But yes.
Yes. Good. Okay. When you go out to eat at a restaurant, you have these 3 appetizer dips. Rank them from your favorite to least favorite: queso, guac, and salsa.
Queso, guac, and then salsa.
Okay, good
KSU's
answer.
number one.
Queso's always number one.
Okay.
Yes, that's the right answer.
Oh, nice. There's
I don't
right answers.
I don't care about the guac and the salsa, but as long as queso is number one, that's
It's good times right there.
hell yeah. Where do you consume music? Spotify or Apple or YouTube?
Apple.
Okay, Apple. Hell yeah. Us Apple people need to stick
What?
together.
You're an Apple person
Yes,
too? Oh my
absolutely.
God. Yeah.
We're like a cult.
Yeah,
Spotify is like the evil corporation, and Apple Music, there's like a group of us that's like, we exist too.
Yeah. Also, Stage Dive. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they are
Stage Dive.
Stage Dive. I had one of the co-founders on the show, and it's another way to listen to music, and it's gives the artists more control over how their music is used and how much profit they get. And I'm just such an advocate for the people who want to fight for the little people. So I love Stage Dive. I have some stickers. Oh my God, I'm going to give you a shirt. I have like 5 shirts at home.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm going to bring one to you next time I see you.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll take a shirt.
I like fighting against like the big man, the
Okay.
corporations. So,
Okay.
yeah, excellent.
Perfect.
I don't know how long it'll be for them to compete with Apple, but there's another way to listen to music. It's not Spotify, but yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
You get on the same vein of music, you are in charge of organizing a 3-day music festival.
Oh, no.
There's tons of acts, but there's a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday main headliner. Who are those 3 headliners for you?
Teddy Swims.
Okay.
I love him.
I'm going to act like I know who that is.
Oh, I wish I could play his music right now, but yeah, I love him. He's from Conyers, Georgia.
Okay.
And he was just singing with Kelly Clarkson. His song is Lose Control. I don't know. I think they were singing Lose Control.
Oh.
You may know him.
I
You just
probably
didn't
have seen
know
his
who he
face.
was.
Yeah.
I would say he's one of them. I love Brad Paisley. He's one of my favorites. He's a country artist, and he's been around for a really long time.
Yes, he
love
is.
him.
I love country.
Married to Kimberly Williams Paisley. I would say Alison Krauss.
Okay.
I would listen to her sing anything in the world. So
Perfect.
her voice is gorgeous.
It's a very diverse group of folks.
Thanks. Also, like opening act, if Linda Ronstadt could still be singing often, and touring, because I think physically she's not well, but I love her so much. And Emmylou Harris. And Dolly Parton. Okay, I'm done.
What is your go-to karaoke song?
Alone by Heart.
I love that you just knew that off the rip.
That's my favorite one to sing.
These next ones are a little deeper. You ready for these?
Yes.
What makes you uncomfortable?
This. You asking me questions. What makes me uncomfortable with that? And, I have a comfort zone I like. And when I'm outside of the comfort zone, like that, I have to like manage my energy. So, growth, I'm always kicking and screaming, but I'm always happy I did it.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
Okay. What does your ideal stress-free, obligation-free Saturday look like? A me day.
Okay, me day. Sleeping as late as I want to.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's just me, okay. Then I like going to antique stores because I just think it's fun. I like to browse. And then I like to go to bookstores because that's fun and I like to browse.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe go to Starbucks and get coffee and then go browse. Like that's fun. And then watching something I want to watch or reading a book. I mean, just the choice. That's joy for me.
Yeah. Awesome. I think we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but what does success look like to you?
Success to me looks like choice of being able to use my time a little more strategically and being able to have moments that I feel like when I put my head down at night, I really think I did something good today, like helped someone be understood better or did a really great job as I'm doing my animation show that I'm going to get because I'm putting it into the universe, like you said, somehow be on an animation show where as I'm doing it, I'm doing a good job, but I'm also interacting with everyone in a way that makes them feel good, being a good human. That's success for me.
Awesome. What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
There's so many. I am constantly inspired. I mean, I have screenshots of really wonderful quotes on my phone that they're just, honestly, there are almost too many advice, quips I could throw at you, but let me see if I can find one real quick. One that I had as a screensaver on my phone was pretty much the one that I was telling you about, where the here it is. The outcome has little to do with me. The process is what needs my attention. The process is mine. The outcome is not mine.
Okay.
I love that, because having anxiety and control issues, it reminds me to let go, let the outcome be what it's supposed to, and to just be present in the moment. So that's probably the one that I think about the most these days.
I love it. Couple more.
Okay.
We talked about this one a little bit earlier too, but what's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear, well, is drowning. But then the other one is that my children are struggle with resilience in life, and that it comes down to something that I did or didn't do as a mom. You know, I really want them to be able to feel like they can handle and believe in themselves enough to get back up when they get knocked down. So I think my biggest fear is that I didn't, to not be able to help them overtly, but to watch them struggle and not get back up. I think that would be a big fear of mine.
Yeah. Deep. And then lastly, what is the best and worst thing about you?
Oh no. Oh gosh. I can name way many more worst things than the best things. I'm going to go with the worst first. The worst thing about me is that I think that there's something, that I'm an anomaly and something's wrong with me or something, that I'm broken in some way, and that I'm really not able to take care of myself. Like, I have a lot of imposter syndrome constantly. Hence, when I get hired to do a job, I cry and then want to make sure they're really happy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, wait, really? Are you sure?
Yeah.
So that, I would say, is that imposter syndrome is a real thing for me. But then I would say the best thing about me, I'm just like an optimistic person. And that actually can be the worst thing about me, because it's a bit annoying to a lot of people, where I'm just like, I'm kind of happy and, look at a lot of bright side things and believe in a lot of pursuits for myself and other people. I like that about me, though. I don't want to lose that. So I think just having an optimistic outlook, I like. But it's funny, because on the other side of the coin, I'm like, but why should I have an optimistic outlook? I don't even know what I'm doing, So there's my brain right there.
Yeah. I love it. So now, Miss Cline, you have the chance to plug away. Plug your stuff, plug everything you've got going on, anything you want to spread the word of.
Okay.
Now's your spot.
Well, if you're interested in voiceovers, you could go to SharonCline.com. And if you're interested in Business Radio X interviews, because I love talking to people, you could go to CherokeeBusinessRadio.com. And what else? I think that's it.
I think that's it.
I think that covers a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, but anything, I don't know, if there's a way that I could enhance something for your life that way, I'd be happy to be part of it.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
I love it. Guys, before I say that, thank you so much for doing this tonight, the night before you're going on a crazy drive. I appreciate it tremendously.
Thank you for rescheduling with me, because I was on that movie set unexpectedly, and you were so nice about that. So thank you.
Absolutely. Anytime. If you're out there doing your thing and something comes up that is, I don't want to say far more important than this, but far more important than this, I will reschedule anytime. Just remember the little guys when you're famous.
Oh, well, no, you'll be remembering me, the little guy, when you're
famous. Right.
You and Chris Pratt buddying off together. That's what I see.
That's the dream.
Playing
right there.
Golf, like wearing that shirt that you're wearing right now.
Oh, thank God. Chris, please. Yeah, it's been so much fun doing your show, doing this one. We have to do more.
I would love to. It's been a blast. Thank
I
you.
hope all of your dreams come true. You're such a delight. You're so cool.
You're cool.
Thank you.
Sure.
So, guys, all the things that she spoke about, Business Radio X, voiceover work, website, all the things, I'm going to throw in the description of the episode so it's easy to access if you are interested in anything that she brought up. Another big, of course, thank you and shout out to Fireworks for letting us do this in their space. Code DRIVE to get a free day pass to try the space out, see if you like it. And with that being said, that is our show today. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram. Check out Hammerhead Creations, and we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.